All right, let's pull back the curtain on one of the most famous and most secretive organizations in the world, Britain's MI6. We're going to get past all the movie stereotypes and dig into the very real, very high-stakes challenges this spy service is facing in a world that is just changing at lightning speed. You know the image, right? The slick agent in a tuxedo, the unbelievable gadgets, the globe-trotting intrigue. But the truth is, spying in the 21st century is way less about shaken martinis and way more about navigating a total minefield of digital surveillance, new global rivalries, and some really, really tough choices. The world has been shaken, for sure, and MI6 is definitely stirred. So, how exactly is the service adapting? Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to look at the new leadership, which signals a huge shift. We'll get into the global threats they're trying to juggle. Then we'll cover how technology has completely rewritten the rulebook for spies. We'll also touch on the agency's other, more proactive mission. And finally, we'll talk about the hard choices that are looming in the shadows. Okay, first up. It really all starts with the person in the top job. And this new appointment, it signals a massive generational shift for the entire service. So meet Blea Metrowelli. She's not just the new chief, or C, as the job is famously called. She's the youngest person ever to hold the position. And what's really crucial here is that she is a complete insider. She has spent her entire career inside British intelligence. And if you look at her resume, you see this amazing combination of skills that you absolutely need for this new era. She joined after the Cold War, so she's from a whole new generation of spies. She's an operational officer, meaning she's been on the ground, in the field, with a focus on the Middle East. But, and this is a big but, she's also run Q branch. And yes, that is the real Q branch, leading the agency's whole tech division. That mix of human spying and deep tech know-how is going to be absolutely vital. This whole insider thing points to a really key cultural difference. Unlike its American cousin, the CIA, which often gets led by political appointees, lawyers, politicians, MI6 has this long-standing tradition. It's run by people who have actually been out there recruiting and running agents in the field. And that ethos, it shapes everything about how the agency works. So, what kind of world is this new chief actually inheriting? Well, to put it mildly, she's facing a landscape of incredibly intense and interconnected global threats. This question just nails the problem perfectly. It's not about dealing with one crisis and then the next. MI6 has to keep all of these high-stakes plates spinning at the same time, and if they drop even one of them, the consequences could be catastrophic. So what are these plates? The priority list is just daunting. You've got a resurgent Russia that's actively carrying out sabotage and arson attacks all across Europe. You've got China, which has been flagged as the #1 global security challenge. And right alongside those, you have ongoing missions like trying to stop Iran's nuclear program and keeping tabs on game-changing tech like AI. And here's the really critical part. These threats aren't in separate little boxes. They're deeply, deeply connected. China isn't just a concern on its own. It's a concern because it is the single biggest enabler of Russia's war machine. That interconnectedness makes the job exponentially harder. Now, layered on top of all of these threats is the biggest disruptor of all, technology. Because in the digital age, the old rules of being a spy are being completely rewritten. Why? Because there's almost nowhere left to hide. Just think about your own phone for a second. It is a constant beacon, right? It's tracking where you go, who you talk to, what you do. Now, imagine you're an MI6 officer trying to have a top secret meeting with the source in a hostile country. That little device in your source's pocket, it's a massive, massive liability. Let's just walk through how this goes wrong. The mission is simple. Meet a source. The problem is, their phone is leaking location data constantly. The threat? A hostile spy service is watching that data. And just like that, boom, your secret meeting isn't secret anymore. The agent, the source, the whole operation, it's all blown. That is the modern agent's dilemma. So how does MI6 even begin to adapt? Well, you turn the tables. You flip the script. They're not just defending against technology anymore, they're using it as an offensive tool. They're leveraging all that data to find potential new agents, to find their vulnerabilities. And that means working closer than ever with tech-focused partners like GCHQ, that's Britain's signals intelligence agency, and really blurring the lines between human spies and digital spies. Now, when we think of MI6, we mostly think their job is to steal secrets, right? But that's really only half the story. There is another, much more proactive mission, something this service calls disruption. And the difference is actually pretty simple, but it's profound. Espionage, that's the classic stuff, gathering intelligence. Disruption, on the other hand, is all about covert action. It's about actively getting involved to make things happen that are in the UK's interest, not just learning about them. So what does that actually look like? Well, it could mean secretly feeding faulty parts into an adversary's weapons program to set them back. Or it could be something like psychological operations, maybe sowing division within the Russian army's leadership to mess up their war plans. It's a very shadowy, very complex part of the job. So, you've got a new leader, you've got mounting global threats, a technological revolution, and this dual mission of spying and disruption. It all boils down to one fundamental problem. And this is the core conflict right here. Britain today is a mid-sized country, but its intelligence service, MI6, still operates with the ambitions of a global superpower. It has to face global threats, but its budget, well, it's not infinite. And, it's just like the British military, which has had to accept that it can't be everywhere and do everything. MI6 is facing that exact same reality. The new chief is going to have some very tough conversations with the government and basically say, look, we can't keep all these plates spinning perfectly forever. We have to choose which ones matter most. Which leaves us with this final, really critical question. As MI6 tries to navigate this new era of intense competition and radical technological change, the hardest choice of all might just be deciding what it can and, more importantly, what it cannot afford to do. What is the true price of ambition when you're operating in the shadows?